Here are a list of 100 Hive YouTubers, and I'm gonna be ranking them all the way from S tier all the way down to D tier, starting with Oficey since he's the main reason I came up with this idea in the first place. Now I'm not gonna lie, Oficey's content is extremely well put together, his thumbnails are good, his editing is good, and he likes to experiment a lot with his content, which I can respect, so I'm gonna give him an A tier. Next is IonicDino. Now his editing and thumbnails are pretty good, but what kills it for me is his microphone. If he got a better microphone, I would probably put him in B tier, but for now I'll put him in C tier. Next is MCW Mike. Not gonna lie, I really enjoy his content. While a lot of his videos are events, he has still made some pretty good videos in the past. So for now, I'll put him in B tier. Next is IcyCraft. If I'm gonna be completely honest, I feel like IcyCraft has to be one of the most underrated Hive YouTubers out there. His video editing is good, his thumbnails are good, and his video ideas are pretty unique. So I'm gonna put him in A tier. Next is LoicPlayz. I really enjoy his editing style and his thumbnails are extremely well put together. However, his video ideas aren't the strongest. But then again, I'm currently making a tier list video, so I can't be talking. But for now, I'll put him in B tier. Next is LilMac. What's crazy about LilMac is that I've legit known him before he even started Hive content, and the fact that he's grown to where he is today is honestly crazy. So of course, I'm gonna give him an S tier. Next is NovusMC. Novus started his channel by making challenge videos and slowly made his content better and better. And although his upload schedule isn't the best, I'm still gonna give him an A tier. Next is KYMY99. Not gonna lie, I really enjoy his content. The editing is pretty good and his thumbnails are decent, but what kills it for me is the length of his videos. If they were a bit longer, I would probably put him in A tier, but for now I'll put him in B tier. Next is DragonG. While his video ideas aren't the most unique, I really enjoy watching his content, so I'll give him an A tier. Next is Elite Koala. Next is Poggy. Not gonna lie, I think Poggy is one of the most underrated Hive YouTubers out there. His video ideas are so unique and he has a unique editing style which I can respect. So I'm gonna put him in A tier. And now that we've gone through some YouTubers, let's move on to a few streamers. Starting with Bozos. While he doesn't post or stream that much anymore, when he did they were pretty entertaining, so I'm gonna give him a B tier. Next is JustMomo. While he streams almost every day, the streams themselves aren't that crazy. There's no background music or any overlays which might make the viewers leave after a short period of time. So for now, I'm gonna put him in C tier. Next is FerrettMC. While his thumbnails aren't that crazy, I still really enjoy watching his streams and the overlays are pretty clean. So I'll put him in B tier. Next is RC. He doesn't really stream or post that much anymore, so I'll just give him a B tier. Next is WspDaniel. Not gonna lie, I really enjoy his content. He uploads pretty often and streams every now and then, so I'll put him in B tier. Next is FerrettMC. His streams are decent, however his thumbnails and microphone aren't the best. If he got a better microphone and improved his thumbnails, I would probably put him in B tier, but for now I'll put him in high C tier. Next is Quapot. The thumbnails for his streams aren't the best, however the streams themselves are pretty good, so I'll put him in B tier. Next is ItzJordin. Not gonna lie, I really like his streams. They're pretty chill and laid back, so I'll put him in B tier. Next is GM19. In my opinion, I think GM19 is one of the best Hive streamers out there. They are so entertaining and he has an intro to all his streams which is pretty unique, so I have to give him an S tier. And now that we've gone through the streamers, let's head back to the YouTubers. Starting with IcyNutella. While some of his videos have been done by other YouTubers, I still really enjoy watching his videos and the editing is pretty good also, so I'm gonna give him an A tier. Next is Electrix. His editing is really good and his video ideas are pretty unique, and I probably would give him an A tier if he posted a bit more, but for now I'll put him in B tier. Next is Eggos. While his editing is extremely good, his video ideas aren't the most unique and his thumbnails could use some work, so for now I'll put him in high B tier. Next is Sparkside. Not gonna lie, this guy legit owns the Hive at this point. Not only has he made thumbnails for almost every single Hive YouTuber, but he also posts on his channel while appearing in other videos as well. So of course, I gotta give him an S tier. Next is ItsBlues. His editing has gotta be some of the best on the Hive, and the fact that he makes all his thumbnails as well is super impressive. And although his upload schedule and video ideas aren't that crazy, I'm still gonna give him an A tier. Next is CosmoCarnage. Respectfully, I just don't think Cosmo has put the quality he can into his videos. There's not much editing in his videos and his thumbnails aren't the greatest, so for now I sadly have to put him in D tier, but if he improved these aspects I would probably put him a bit higher. Next is Swigo. In my opinion, Swigo is the perfect example of what an underrated Hive YouTuber looks like. His sub count is low, yet his his videos are so good. I would probably put him in A tier, but his upload schedule isn't the best, so I'll put him in B tier. And now that we've gone through some YouTubers, let's move on to the commentary YouTubers, and more specifically, the Defectt clones. Now, if I'm gonna be honest, I personally don't mind commentary YouTubers. While a lot of the content is very similar, all of the commentary YouTubers are unique in their own ways. For example, Avery likes to experiment with her content, while Fire Ultra likes to do challenge videos. But with that being said, I'm gonna give them all a B tier since I enjoy all their content about the same. Next is Snap. His main content is bridging, however he does do other content as well. The thumbnails are decent and the editing is pretty good, so I'll put him in high B tier. Next is Pepe the Parrot. His editing and thumbnails are very clean, but his upload schedule and video ideas aren't the best. So for now, I'll put him in B tier. Next is Phlonoxy. Now, although bro hasn't uploaded in over a year, when he did, his content was pretty good. His thumbnails weren't the best, but his editing had a unique style which I can respect. So I'll put him in C tier since he hasn't posted in a while. Next is Redblu. Not gonna lie, I really like his content. His video ideas are pretty unique and his editing is also pretty good, so I'll put him in B tier. Next is Treemon. While it is unique that he's taking real life shows and breaking them into Minecraft, the videos themselves aren't that crazy. If he improved the editing a little bit more, I'd probably put him in B tier, but for now I'll put him in C tier. Next is the COD God. His video ideas aren't the most unique and his thumbnails aren't the best, so I'll put him in C tier. Next is LoicPlayz. While I don't really watch that many montages, I still feel like LoicPlayz has some of the best ones, and the fact that he posts them pretty often is impressive, so I'll put him in high A tier. Next is Dynams. Not gonna lie, his editing and storytelling is extremely well put together, and I could definitely see him reaching YouTube rank in the future, and if he did post a bit more, I would probably put him in A tier, but for now I'll put him in high B tier. Next is Typical Wheezy. There's not much editing in his videos and the thumbnails aren't the best. If he improved these aspects, I would probably put him in B tier, but for now I'll put him in high C tier. Next is GlitchroCube. While he doesn't post a lot, whenever he does, they are extremely entertaining. The editing is pretty clean and the fact that he makes all his thumbnails is actually crazy, so I have to give him an A tier. Next is WizzyWiz. Don't get me wrong, his videos are amazing, but his thumbnails aren't the greatest. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to tell what's happening and they don't pop out too much, but for now I'll put him in B tier. Next is FerrettMC. While most of his videos are commentaries, I do like how he incorporates funny memes and clips into his videos, as we haven't seen that kind of content in a while, so I'll put him in B tier. Next is the Faceless. Despite having a fairly low sub count, his thumbnails and video editing is on another level, and the fact that he's won Hive contests is super impressive, so I have to give him an S tier. Next is Riordo. Don't get me wrong, his editing is pretty good, however his video ideas and thumbnails aren't the best, but I'll still give him a high B tier. Next is Last Oreo. His video editing is extremely good, but it's mainly just your typical Hive content, so for now I'll put him in B tier. Next is Orange Lotto. While he does post pretty often, the videos themselves aren't that crazy. None of his videos have thumbnails and there's not much editing, so I'll put him in D tier right next to Cosmo. Next is Cat Ninja. His animations are great, however his thumbnails could use some work. It's sometimes hard to see what's happening in them and they aren't that clickable. If he improved his thumbnails a bit more, I would probably put him in B tier, but for now I'll put him in high C tier. Next is Glitch Guaranteed. His editing is great, but his video ideas and upload schedule isn't the best, so for now I'll put him in high C tier. Next is Galactic. His videos are great, but where he lacks the most is his video ideas. They aren't that crazy, that unique, so for now I'll put him in B tier. Next is Super Gamer DX. Although he doesn't post much anymore, whenever he does they are extremely entertaining. His editing is good, his thumbnails are amazing, and his video ideas are pretty unique, so I have to put him in A tier. Next is XL2. His video ideas are unique and his editing is decent, but where he lacks the most is his thumbnails. They don't pop out a whole lot and it's sometimes hard to see what the text says, so for now I'll put him in B tier. Next is Pathol. He doesn't post that often, but when he does his content is pretty good, so I'll put him in B tier. Next is ItzJordin. I know he has almost 2,000 subscribers, but I still consider him underrated, and the fact that he made a 20-minute video on the Hive is kinda crazy, so I have to give him an A tier. Next is Rubixel. If I'm gonna be honest, his videos aren't that crazy. His thumbnails don't really pop out and there's not much editing in his videos. However, the fact that he's able to get every Hive YouTuber together each year to watch the Hive Awards is super impressive, so I'm gonna give him a high B tier. Next is ItzLavaMC. For whatever reason, he ended up deleting his old channel but recently made a new one, and and it seems to be doing pretty well, so I'm gonna give him a B tier. Next is Hive News. Not gonna lie, this channel is actually really unique. Ever since Not Kings quit YouTube, there hasn't really been that many news channels, and the fact that he posts news almost every day is super cool, so I'm gonna give him a B tier. Next is Bufferin. This guy can legit take a simple video idea and turn it into an actual movie, and although he doesn't post a whole lot, I'm still gonna give him an A tier. Next is Coffee Mango. His thumbnails are amazing and his editing is pretty clean as well, and although it looks like he is straying away from Hive content, I'm still gonna give him an A tier. Next is Springyboi. Despite playing and editing on mobile, his videos are still very well made. I love the thumbnail style and his video editing is decent, so I'll put him in B tier. Next is Diamond Slushy. If I'm gonna be honest, there's nothing that crazy about his videos. There's not much editing and his thumbnails are usually all over the place, so for now I'll put him in C tier. Next is Flimsy. His editing is alright and his thumbnails could use some work, so for now I'll put him in C tier. Next is FerrettMC. His video ideas are really unique and his thumbnails are pretty good as well, so I'll put him in B tier. Next is Why You Mad. I haven't watched that much of his content, but it seems pretty decent. The editing has a unique style and his video ideas are pretty unique, so I'll put him in B tier. Next is Pontyboy. His content has to be some of my favorite on the Hive. His video ideas are super unique and his editing is pretty clean, so I'll put him in A tier. Next is SlenderGuy. Not gonna lie, I really enjoy his content. His editing is clean and his video ideas are pretty unique, so I'll put him in B tier. Next is Gappled. Despite not using a microphone in his videos, they are still very well made. The editing is amazing and his thumbnails are decent, so I'll put him in high B tier. Next is Shorkie. Whenever Hive adds a new scavenger hunt to the hub, I always watch Shorkie's videos. While the thumbnails aren't the best, the videos themselves are pretty good, so I'll give him a B tier. Next is Christ. Although he doesn't post anymore, his content was pretty good, and in my opinion, he made one of the best Hive videos out there, so I'll give him an A tier. Next is a Cobra Fang. While some of his content are commentaries, the videos themselves are pretty entertaining. The editing is decent and the thumbnails have a unique style to them, so I'll give him a B tier. Next is Space Mellow. At the time of recording this, he's only made one Hive video and it wasn't that crazy. There wasn't any editing in the video and the text in the thumbnail was a bit hard to see, so for now I'll put him in D tier, but I could definitely see his channel grow in the future if he improved these aspects. Next is Dr. Yellower. I really enjoy watching his videos, however his editing and thumbnails aren't the greatest, so for now I'll put him in high C tier. Next is LilMac. Although he took a break from YouTube, in my opinion he had some of the best content on the Hive, and the fact that he edited all his videos on iMovie is actually crazy, so I have to give him an A tier. Next is Axolox. His thumbnails are great and he streams pretty often, however his videos are almost too over edited. They aren't bad videos, but there's almost too much editing happening at the same time, so for now I'll put him in B tier. Next is PrimeFire. Although it looks like he's moving to regular Minecraft content, his Hive content was still pretty good.
However, he did use a robot voice which made the videos a bit less enjoyable.
But for now, I'll put him in B tier. Next is Myko. This guy's editing and animations are on another level, and although he doesn't post much anymore, I'm still gonna give him an A tier. Next is Pat at iOS. Although he doesn't post much, his videos are pretty good, so I'm gonna put him in B tier. Next is Epic. If I'm gonna be honest, there's nothing that crazy about his content. It's mainly just your typical Hive content and the editing is decent, so for now I'll put him in B tier. Next is BingusPlayz. He doesn't post nor does he stream that much anymore, so it's kinda hard to rate his channel, but for now I'll put him in C tier. Next is Ian the Lad. His content is decent, but he doesn't post much anymore, so I'll put him in C tier. Next is Bodiggity. Not gonna lie, this guy's content is actually really underrated. His video ideas are unique and his editing is decent, so I'll put him in B tier. Next is Jitter. His editing is pretty good, but his video ideas and thumbnails could use some work, so for now I'll put him in B tier. And to end it off, next is On1Can. He doesn't post much anymore, but his content was pretty good. The editing and thumbnails could use a bit of work, but for now I'll put him in B tier. And with that, we have officially finished the tier list. Here's a magnificent shot of the Hive YouTuber tier list, and if you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy one of my other videos as well.